Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. I'm Stephanie Fisher. I'm a licensed counselor here in the state of Michigan, and I am owner and operator of In Progress Counseling. This week's theme is on digestion. So we've talked about that kind of volitional action of, nope, I'm not ready for something. So I'm behaviorally engaged in resisting. Then when I start to chew on something, there's a volitional component to it. I am deciding to engage in chewing and starting to actively participate in understanding this new reality. When I swallow, that's at the level of volition as well. That's something that I am behaviorally engaging. When we come to that idea of digesting, it might seem like a passive process, meaning I can't force things through my system. There's mechanistically things that are going to go on to support digestion. But from a mental health standpoint and actually from a nutritional standpoint, the digestion dynamic demands so much energy. And so as my body is breaking down food and moving food through its system and prioritizing what goes where, what am I going to metabolize and what am I going to put towards waste, what am I going to store to fat, all of that mechanistically demands a ton of energy. We even use in nutrition, we'll talk about like the thermogenic effects of food, meaning certain types of food demand you work harder. That means you absorb less energy because your body is burning that energy. So it's this interesting kind of complexity that happens as we're trying to digest. It's not an active process, meaning I am doing something behaviorally. It is a significantly big taxation emotionally, possibly energy expenditure wise as well. And so as I've kind of processed through something, or I've let something start to become part of my story, I'm probably going to notice my brain working really hard to make sense of things. I'm likely going to notice physiological responses, maybe, grief in my chest, which we talked about last week. Possibly there's intrusiveness in my dreams as my brain is cycling through things and trying to make meaning. Possibly I'm more prickly. So relationally, it might show up where I need distance, or I just need to, be very clear with people about where I'm operating from. Maybe I just have a heightened bit of agitation that's running. My response might be a little bit more, hairpin trigger type stuff. It would be very common because the amount of energy expenditure going on is actually really taxing to the system. So let's say I've had a job loss and I'm metabolizing that reality where I'm talking to myself about, yes, that's really, that's awful. That's the stage I'm in right now. While I'm metabolizing that, my brain is likely simultaneously trying to think through, okay, what are my options for revocationalizing? What are my options for finances and income? And I'm also having to process through that internal understanding, which is, sensations and feelings and thoughts. And, my nervous system has some stuff going on. Some of my trauma stuff gets really moved around. Maybe there's the felt sense of rejection or the, cosmic injustices. It's really hard to put language to all the things that might be stirred up. But while digestion doesn't have me doing something at the level of volition, I'm letting the process move its way through my system, there's still copious amounts of energy expenditure and emotional development that's going on. And so that's one of the things where clients can get really surprised by, like, hey, I think I'm accepting this. It's like, right. And it still might tax the system as you practice accepting something again and again, as you let it digest, as you start to select new patterns and new rhythms and new behaviors that are updating this stage of life that's now in front of you. There's just a lot going on. Last week, we talked about that grief and lament. As we move forward, there's going to be kind of that energy that goes towards the rebuild. The digestion is kind of that in between. Things are moving around. I'm not necessarily making a lot of movement, but likely I'm processing an astronomical amount of understanding, including thought patterns, emotions, some of my stuff getting stirred up, some of my relational dynamics are going through some sort of transformation. Lots of big stuff is happening in that digestion stage, even if I'm not doing a lot of moving.